All right, good afternoon, everybody. What is a teacher without her students? She's nothing. So today I have my two very special students, my daughters, Marini and Parisa, and several of their very special other students, stuffed animals. So today we're going to be learning about Kant's categorical imperative. This is notoriously one of the most difficult philosophical theories to understand in the whole entire world, but I believe I can teach my children this theory. So let's see if I can do it really well. Let's get started. All right, students, are you ready to learn?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, so you know when you get in trouble, for doing something bad, right?
Doesn't happen often.
Never
ever happens.
Never happens. What happens is I must be assuming that the thing that you did it on purpose, right?
That could be an accident.
That's right. It could be an accident. And if you did it by accident, then should you get in the same amount of trouble for it?
No, but they don't know that.
Yeah, but people don't know it. That's right. So this was the challenge that a philosopher named Immanuel Kant came up with. And he said that the only reason that morality makes sense is if you're in fact free. So children, tell me, are you free?
No, you're making me do chores. But usually, yes.
Yeah. So you're not chained up. You're not locked inside your room and anything. So you're free in that regard. And I do make you do chores. But what makes you free? Is what makes you free something that's inside of you?
Something that makes you free is having the right to do something even though people may not like it. Now, if it's illegal, then
that's right.
Then that's supposed to be.
So the type of freedom you're talking about is also political freedom. Yeah. There's another kind of freedom that we're interested in called metaphysical freedom, and this is the freedom that we might have as human beings. And so Kant, what he worried about is that what makes you a slave is your desires. That you want this and you want that, you want to hit your sister, and if you could only stop yourself from hitting your sister, that would be what makes you free. And so he said that the thing that makes you free is reason. This is the head of reason, the head that knows how to think, and you know how to control your desires. You know how to stop yourself from hitting. You know how to stop yourself from doing things that are bad. So what are the kinds of things that are free and that have reason? Is this teddy bear right here, is he free?
Yeah.
No, he's not free to do anything. He just sits there.
It's my teddy bear.
Happy. He's happy, but he's not free.
Yeah,
that's right. Where's our kitty cat? Our kitty cat's downstairs. Now, the kitty cat can move around. Is the kitty cat free?
Yeah, in some sort of.
Can't go in the garage.
Yeah, that's right. But the kitty cat also can't think very clearly. It can't make rational choices. It can't create a bedroom or any Lego sets or anything like that. So the kitty's not very free. What about this electric car? If we turned it on and we told it to go around, is the car free as it's moving across the floor?
It's not allowed because you are controlling it.
That's right. I'm controlling it. So it's like a robot. I'm controlling it. Now, do I control you guys the same way I control the car?
No.
No, I wish I could.
Hey,
yeah, I wish I could say, go brush your teeth, and then you would just automatically go and do it. But you don't do that, do you?
I do brush my teeth.
Sometimes you brush your
I
teeth.
still do.
Okay, so the car's not very free. What about the stormtrooper? Is a stormtrooper very free?
No.
Why? What is the stormtrooper?
Because they're bossed around.
They're bossed around. That's right. That's right. So
except that one that one stormtrooper that didn't do it and joined the.
And he joined. That's right. That's right. He joined.
The good side.
That's right. That's right. So are stormtroopers free? We're not entirely sure. So we don't know if stormtroopers can be held morally accountable for their actions because they're being constantly programmed by Darth Vader to do bad things.
Because they're forced by Darth Vader.
That's right. They're forced by Darth Vader. So are they morally free? Or no, we don't know. So Kant says that what makes you free is reason, and the only beings in the world that have this is human beings. Stormtroopers don't have it, stuffed animals don't have it, cats don't have it, only we're the ones that have it.
What about gorillas?
No, they don't have it because they can't talk. So language is a big part of it.
But what if we're also different? What if we're gorillas and we're talking to?
We'll discuss that later. Okay, so here's my point. What we get with reason is the ability to act with intention or a purpose. And so what Kant says is what matters is when you do an action that you have a reason for doing it. And so he says that what's important is that we have these things called maxim. And a maxim is like a rule. So this is our little book of rules. Here's the rules that we're all supposed to be following. And what makes it special is that we can act on intention and not just on an instinct. Yes, Mary.
Slaves weren't free because they were.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. Very good. Very good.
I know that.
Okay.
Harriet Tubman.
Yes, Harriet Tubman. That's right. She helped free the slaves.
She learned it. And
yeah. Very good.
I know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So here's how we become free. So Kant says he describes this thing called the categorical imperative. And what we do as reason, the head of reason, you can give a command. So here, I'm going to give each of you a scepter. And Kant says that what we do is we can give commands. And the way that we give a command is that we pretend like we're the king of the universe or the queen. And we give the command that everyone would follow. And whatever the command is that everyone would follow, that's what we're supposed to do. So what does that mean? You can't cheat. You can't make yourself an exception. You can't say, oh, well, I'm just going to steal this piece of candy just this once, even though I know that the rules are ones that would say that children should not steal candy, right? So what Kant says is that you should act on a maxim that you could will to become a law. So you can will your maxim to become a law. So what's a law that you would pass if that would be a universal law? This is called the law of the universalizable principles. What would be the laws that you would pass that would be a universal law that everyone should follow?
Let's see. Okay. Let's see.
Act in such a way that the maxim that you will at the same time is will to become a universal law. So something about people should not steal. Something like that.
Everyone must follow their government.
Okay, that's good enough. That's good.
I don't know.
All right, that's good.
Or maybe
I don't know if this is a law.
Okay. What's your
They're selling drugs. I don't know if that's a law or not.
Yeah, that would be a law. Yeah, I'm not sure if it'd be a good law, but that's okay.
No stealing from public markets.
Okay,
No,
that's a good law.
bad.
So what you have to do is every time you're about to do something is you ask yourself, is this a law that I could ask everyone in the world to follow? And that's called a categorical imperative.
So something that's equal to everyone. So it's not. So it's like that. Not only. So if someone passes something that says everyone must pay taxes, even though. But that's not
right. It applies to everyone.
But some people may not be able to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Poor people may not have enough money. That's
So
right. So
you're saying
that is definitely a problem.
It has to be it has to be something that everyone can do.
Yeah, everyone can follow. And you can have a little exception within it. You could be like everybody who makes over $20,000 pays taxes. But as long as you apply it fairly, and that's what the whole point is, that it is applied equally to everybody. So let me explain.
Can I do something real quick?
Let me keep going because I don't want to run out of time.
All right.
So that's called a categorical imperative. It's something that everybody does. A hypothetical imperative is a command that you give yourself, but it's only a command that you have because you have a certain desire. So let's talk for a minute about what your desires are. What do you want to be when you grow up?
She first.
Okay. Marnie wants to be a lawyer.
Yes.
Yes,
Are
okay.
you sure?
So if Mary wants to be a liar, it's a hypothetical imperative that you must give yourself a command. What do you need to do to become a liar?
I have to make sure that my education stays very
Yeah.
high. And
Yeah,
I
so
go
where
to
do
good
you-
colleges.
You have to go to college.
And make
Then where
sure
do you go after that?
go to like maybe like
Law
a law school.
That's right, law school. Very good. Okay. So Carissa, if you
For
want,
sports.
do you need to command yourself to go to law school? No.
If I don't want
I have
If
to.
you don't want
I have to
to,
because
so
I wanna be
that's
a-
right.
I have to because I have to be
So
a sports
a
writer.
hypothetical
You wanna be a
imperative is if you want to do something, then you command yourself to do it.
So it's like putting
Carissa,
your mind to something.
yes, that's right. But a hypothetical imperative is contingent on your desires, on what you want to do. Okay. Now, Parisa wants to go to art. She wants to be an artist when she grows up. So her hypothetical imperative, if you want to be an artist, then you need to make art. Yes.
I
that's
have
right.
made all like many pieces.
Very good. So the whole point here is that the categorical imperative is a command that we give ourselves that applies to everyone. That's the universalizability. The hypothetical imperative is a command you give yourself because you want to do something, but that doesn't apply to everybody. So what this means is that every time you do an action, you don't figure out, you don't judge the action according to its consequences. The consequences of your action don't really matter. What matters is if you've done the action according to your duties or according to the rules of the principle. So you have to follow the rules. Okay, children, who is this?
That's the Grinch.
This
I
is
have a
the
report on
Grinch.
him.
Okay, wait. Don't interrupt me, please. Okay. So, is the Grinch? Is he a good guy, bad guy, nice guy, mean guy?
Well, he was bad at first
That's
because
right.
he hated Christmas, but then he changes because of Cindy Lou Who.
That's right.
Who?
Cindy Lou Who. That's right.
Oh, man.
And so, here's the interesting thing about Kant is that he says that the Grinch, as long as the Grinch does the right thing by giving out, what did the Grinch need to do to make up for the bad thing that he did?
Save Christmas.
He had to give
That's what
Christmas
he
back,
did.
right? He stole everybody's Christmas presents, but then he gave them back.
Yeah. And he's
So
celebrating.
even though the Grinch has a tiny, tiny heart, even though he's not the nicest
At
guy,
the end, it was like, at the beginning,
It was like this
little tiny
that
heart.
tiny.
That's
And
right.
then at the end, it went like,
Yes.
I can't.
By the way, this may not be the best example given Humean and Kantian views on passions and reason, but we're going to skip over for that now. But the point is that you don't have to be a nice person, according to Kant. All you need to do is follow the rules. You have to do the right thing. Don't cheat when you're not supposed to. It doesn't matter if you're not the nicest person. Even the Grinch could be considered a morally correct person if he follows the rules. Okay, so it's not about being nice. So the second part of Kant's categorical imperative is called the formula of humanity. And the formula of humanity says that you should respect all human beings and treat them with autonomy and human dignity because that's what they deserve in virtue of the fact that they're good people. So the second formulation of the categorical imperative says, act in such a way that you always treat people as ends in themselves and not as a means to an end. What do you think that means?
You repeat.
Okay, treat somebody as valuable in and of themselves and not as a means to an end. So a means to an end means that you use somebody for some reason.
So
Do you know what it means to use somebody?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's like maybe like to like maybe make someone jealous. Like if you're let's say if someone dates someone, they might just be using them to make someone else jealous.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So you can use people to because you don't really like them, but you're trying to get something you want.
Yeah.
Right? So I might use you because you have a car. I might call you all the time and be like, hey, give me a ride, right? I'm using for that. Okay? So this has to do with Kant's theory of what makes things valuable. Okay. Do you know what valuable means?
It
This is
depends.
our money.
It depends.
Valuable
Like
means how much is something worth? How much is something worth? Okay, so in philosophy, we talk about that there's different kinds of value.
Yeah.
There's monetary value, which is how much something costs. Do we know how much this thing costs?
Probably like $15.
Yep, $15, probably something like that. Okay, so here's what Kant says. Kant thinks that we're super important and that these little toy cars and little Juno, our cat, is not super important. What makes us super important is that we are the creators of value and we give things value. And so there's two kinds of value we're going to talk about. The first kind of value we're going to talk about,
Money?
this is called conditional worth. Okay, and that just means the value that is like, you know, the kind of value that you have that's based on, you know, how much are you worth to other people in terms of dollars. Okay, so we have this thing called
The Mona Lisa.
Yes, the Mona Lisa. Is this a valuable painting?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a very valuable
Because
painting.
it's so famous.
It's very famous. Do you know how much people think it's worth?
150. I mean 800.
Probably like 100,000 for me because I paid so
850.
Okay, it is worth, according right now, it's worth $850 million. This painting is worth that much.
I knew it was like 800.
So why?
It's very
What
nice.
makes, so how does this painting get its value? Yes.
Maybe it was because it was created by a very
Famous.
very good artist and it was created long ago.
Yeah. So Leonardo da Vinci made it. It was made very long ago. You know, art collectors, with people who have all this knowledge about art, they say it's valuable. We trust their opinion. They put it in a fancy room in the Louvre. So what gives things, if nobody cared about the Mona Lisa, it would
It'd
exactly.
be like wouldn't be
10
famous and
Yeah.
it wouldn't be
Like mommy's art. Nobody cares about my
like
sad art.
$850 million.
That's
if
right.
It wasn't famous and if it wasn't.
That's right. If it were just, that's right. If it wasn't popular, it wouldn't be worth that much money.
It would just be like $10.
Yeah. So the difference between the Mona Lisa and us, what's the difference between the Mona Lisa and you?
We're living.
We're living, that's right.
And we're not an item. We're something that goes out and does things of great interest that impacts the environment.
That's right, Marini. So that's right. So this is an object. All the things that we have around us, these are all objects. But we are important. And so what Kant says is that we have intrinsic value. So the other things have conditional worth. We have intrinsic worth. Conditional worth, intrinsic worth. Intrinsic worth means that we have a value that's beyond all price. So if somebody ever came up and said to me, how much would you sell to me your children for?
Oh my gosh.
What would I
I'm
say
not
to
for
that?
sale. I'm not for
You
sale.
are not for sale.
But
That's
if
right.
I was for sale, like probably over $1 million.
You think I would sell you for over
No, but
$1
if
million?
I was for sale.
Yes, but you're not for sale. Is that what you're saying?
If I was for sale, it's over $1 million. But if I'm not, I'm just not going to be on sale. I'm not going to be any money.
I think that's a good thing. You should not be on sale. So Kant says that you can never sell people. You can never violate their worth. And that's because we are the sources of value, because we create all the things that have value. So you can't put a price on us. We're the ones that have intrinsic worth because we're the ones that create value and we're the valuers of value. Yes.
Bees create honey and honey is valuable.
Oh, yeah. So that means we have to, if we value the honey, what else do we have to value?
Human beings.
The bees. Exactly right. And if we value the bees, what else do we have to value? The environment that the bees live in. Very good.
Which people deny too.
So if I can't sell you, what does this mean? If I'm not supposed to sell you and I'm not supposed to use you, what does this mean? I can't treat you like what?
Like
Crab or a piece of
car,
bread.
like
I
you
can't
control
treat
us.
you as an object. And so
Okay.
a minute ago, Mary, you were asking about slavery.
Yeah.
So what happened in slavery using these words?
People
Using the words.
owned slaves as if as conditional
Yes.
value because
Yes.
because they were different from us by their appearances.
Yes.
We thought that we were better than them. But
Yes. No,
we're
we're not.
equal.
That's right. Everybody is equal. That's right. And so what Kant says is that it is wrong to treat other people as a means to an end, and you have to respect other people all the time. So what this implies is that you can never use people, you can't coerce them, you can't force them, you can't manipulate them. I have to respect your freedom.
But still, that happens every day.
It
With
does.
people around the world.
How does it happen?
Like people force, like kidnappers, they force people to get in the
Yes,
car.
that's right. So what that means is that they are doing something very morally wrong. What Kant says we should do to stop them, I'm not 100% sure. So all of this, these are ways of exploiting other people. Have you ever heard of the word exploiting? No. So exploiting somebody is taking advantage of their worth and using it. That's right, to their own advantage. So I shouldn't use you to, I mean, am I exploiting you right now by using you in my video to explain Kantian ethics?
No, this is fun.
This is fun. See, okay, so I'm not exploiting you to satisfy my own desires. So I should also promote your well-being, do things that are good for you, and help you develop yourselves as good kids. Now, what this means, going back to this money thing, Mary, in a way, when you said that we use people all the time, that's true. And there are problematic ways. So corporations, many people think that they exploit their laborers, and that's a bad way. But there are ways that we use people in a normal way. So think about my students, my teachers. My students kind of use me to get an education. But maybe that's not a
wanting
to.
Yeah, that's for the better good.
You're wanting to teach students.
That's right. I do want to teach.
You're not getting forced to.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So during the 1800s, the child labor that was using.
Excellent. Child labor laws are another very good example of ways that children have been exploited in history. So yeah, that's another problem. So sometimes, like when we go to McDonald's and we get some food and
I don't order anything.
Yeah, whatever you order
they're
all
good.
the time.
They're good.
So when we give them the money, are we using the person behind the cash register to get our food? Are we using them?
Not really.
How is that different?
It's kind of like they volunteer themselves for that job, so they
wanted to like.
I mean, it might not be like the best job ever. Like I mean,
but that's okay.
People.
Right, and then as long as they're getting paid,
yeah,
and as long as they're getting treated well. So when we go up and we make our orders from the restaurant, we're not like, "Hey, give me my food."
No,
that would be disrespectful.
And they wouldn't even know what they want. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
You didn't even say what.
But we're not supposed to be mean. So the point is that you always have to respect people. So the key word for Kant is respect. Always respect. Treat other people as valuable in and of themselves. Don't try to use them, and you treat them as a valuable person in and of themselves with respect. Do we try to do that to everybody we meet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we try to do that all the time. No matter who they are, we seek to respect all the people that we meet.
Not
So I would say that you guys are very good Kantians already. So do you have any last questions about this theory? I think you guys did a great job. I think my students are going to understand it.
Hopefully.
I hope so.
Because I understood it, and I'm in second grade. They're in I think they're in college.
Yeah, they're in college. That's right.
If you're disrespectful to someone, then they'll be unwilling to take your order in a restaurant or do whatever.
That's right. So just being disrespectful to people, then that makes them have
so
bad
treat
feelings.
others how you want to be treated.
Yes. So this theory, that's a very good question. So a lot of times people ask, what is the difference between this view and the golden rule which is to treat other people as you want to be treated. So the difference is, so when I told you guys that you should be making a command for everyone to follow, it's not just a command that what you would want if you were in the other person's position, because you might want something kind of weird. You might want
everyone to drive me to Subway.
You might want something weird that would not make sense. So the golden rule is maybe a good start, but the universalizability rule is even higher than that, and it's because it's universal, and it's saying we have to command, we act on a command that you could command everybody in the world to act on. So that's the difference. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because people often think that Kant's theory is the golden rule, but it's not. It's different. Any other questions?
Let's see. I just had it. It is right there. It just left my mind.
Okay.
But when there was child labor, so during that they're being used, but if it was Kant's theory around back then for people to think of philosophers back then, or during slavery for them to think of that.
That is another excellent question. So Kant wrote the majority of his writings in the late 1700s. Most philosophers, they wrote with their ideas when they were very young, around in their 20s, but Kant didn't start writing his really good stuff till he was 50, 60, 70. So there's still hope for mommy. So his famous writings, he wrote these books in the late 1700s. This was around the time that the transatlantic slave trade was happening. But even as the transatlantic slave trade was happening, there was an abolition movement to stop it. And people used Kant's ideas to use this idea that we should abolish slavery.
We didn't learn about that in school.
Yeah, well, people don't. It's called a trickle-down effect. So some people read Kant, but then they never say that it came from him. So just like a lot of our great ideas, which are in our Declaration of Independence, came from John Locke, but people don't always talk about him. So anyway, philosophers are the ones that create the ideas. Sometimes it takes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years to get back around to all the rest of the people and they have some impact. Kant's ideas did have a very important impact eventually, but he also had some really weird views, which we're not going to talk about right now, which are also a part of it. But we're trying to take the bad out right now. I'm trying to teach you the best part of it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, children. Thank you for the lesson today. You've been very good students. I miss my real students.
Do I get an A+?
But I also like these students as well. They're pretty good.
Do I get an A+?
Thank you.